No role plays, no conference calls, no BS. Chris and Lorenzo share 4 decades of combined experience to help you become a more effective leader. This is Hacking Your Leadership.
Hey, this is Chris with Hacking Your Leadership. On this discussion about employee engagement, I want to talk about an interaction that I had with a person a few weeks ago that hasn't really sat well with me, and kind of trying to figure out why it wasn't sitting well with me. It led me to kind of a thought process in my mind around something I think is really important if you're a leader of people when it comes to keeping your employees engaged. I went to a person that I work with a problem, and I asked them for advice on how to solve a problem. And their response was not what I hoped it would be. It was, it wasn't the exact words of "Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions." They didn't say that, but what they said was, "What would you do?" And the impression that I got from that moment was not that they wanted me to make the decision, but that they actually didn't have an answer for me, and they were trying not to admit that they didn't have an answer for me. And that was a little frustrating because I would have rather have just admitted that they didn't have an answer so we could, kind of work through it together, which is fine. Like that, have the humility to say no. But it made me want to just, not go to that person again for any advice, because I felt like the interaction wasn't transparent and real. I wanted to talk to somebody who actually either A, had a solution, or B, could help me work through it together, so that at least I could say I did my due diligence on making sure I wasn't just arbitrarily going forward on my own, that I was taking a partner in making this decision. So I think this is really important when it comes to employee engagement, because again, I found myself actively disengaging on trying to solve that problem because of the response of that leader, and trying to find out how to instead replace that person with somebody else to try to solve this problem. I think this happens a lot, and I think a lot of leaders either inadvertently or intentionally drive employees down this path.
I will be the first to say I'm Lorenzo. I'm a leader of people, and I have done this in my career.
You have, haven't you?
Yes, guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Have I?
We all
have
have,
I
by the
rolled
way.
my eyes? Yeah, rolled my eyes in my head. Have I thought like, why is this person always bringing me problems? I have absolutely guilty of this.
Sure.
I think this happens. This happens in real life. It happens in leadership. I think it's a great topic to talk about, because we talk a lot about employee engagement. We talk a lot about building trust. We talk a lot about like collaboration, and working with people, benefit of the doubt, positive intent. Like we talk about a lot of these types of things. This is one of those moments when this is such a critical time for those things to come to life. Because, I'm going to assume, just as my assumption, that people have done the work to figure out what the solution should be to the problem before they got to me. And so I'm going to assume you came to me because you really need help getting to a solution. If you come to me consistently and I'm like, we just had this conversation 2 weeks ago, or this is so similar to the last thing that happened, and we talked about it, and I kind of gave you some resources and asked you some questions. Like we took the time to break this down a little bit, and you're continuing to come back to me. Then I have to peel back as a leader, say, okay, what's going on here, right? Like maybe we didn't get there together, but we have to have a different conversation. But I want to make sure that it's done in a healthy way, because what I still need you to do is come to me. Like what you just said, like if I disengage in a way, or if I make it feel like I'm not being transparent, or I don't have time for you, or I'm not willing to give you a solution, then I can completely turn you off of coming to me when it comes to having questions or problems. And then you might make a decision that is really something that causes a larger issue, right? And I do not want to have that. But if you're getting this from a larger team, if you're getting this from an individual, as a leader, you have to step back and say, like, what am I doing to cause this? What am I doing to allow this to be a thing that continues to happen? And how do I have to change my behavior, my communication style, my clarity of the vision of what we do? Like, what do I have to change to help my team stop doing this specific behavior? Because if you don't personally own it, you're going to continue to just either shut it down, or they stop coming to you, and that becomes really a much larger issue.
Right. And if an employee is doing this, it isn't necessarily that they don't care. It could be that they lack the confidence in being able to make a decision on their own, and they're looking for validation. They're looking for you to validate what they've already figured out, or they've been burned in the past. They've made a decision on their own, or they've felt like they did the due diligence. They made a decision and it didn't go the right way for them, and now it's kind of what once bitten, twice shy. It's your job as a leader to find out which of these two people that you're dealing with, because how you lead a person that is one style versus the other style is very different. One of them doesn't care, and one of them cares very deeply, but doesn't want to get themselves into a situation that hurt them in the past. And how you respond to them to give them the confidence to move forward, that is going to make all the difference in the world to kind of get them out of that rut, versus a person who doesn't care. I want to give some advice to leaders on how to best do this, but first I want to get up word from one of our sponsors. All right, if you're a leader of people and you're dealing with this kind of thing where people are coming to you and asking for solutions to problems, one of the questions that I love asking of people who've come to me to kind of figure out which of the two people they are. Or do they care deeply about something and they're just worried about making the wrong decision? Or do they not care and they're just trying to, hand off the problem to me, hand off the responsibility to me so that they don't have to make the decision on their own? The question I ask them is, if there wasn't a clearly defined solution to this by the organization or by a policy somewhere, if it were truly up to you, what do you want to do? And what I've found is that you will get one of two responses. You'll get deer in headlights, or you'll get, oh, well, this is what I would do right here. I do this and this and this and this and this. That answer of being able to clearly articulate what they would want to do if it were up to them, that says, okay, I have put thought into this. I do care about this problem. I've exhausted the resources I have, and I'm coming to you for advice because I really can't find the answer. If they can't articulate what they would want to do, or if they have to if they're really having to think about that, it means they haven't put any thought into it. And that's a different response. One requires the kind of leadership that says, you don't care about your job and we need to figure out how to make that happen, or figure out how to get you into a different role where you do care about it. The other says, you have an employee who is actively engaged in solving problems and they maybe lack the confidence to do it on their own without taking a partner. Figure out which of the two employees that it is that you're dealing with, and respond accordingly. Otherwise, you will end up either actively contributing to the disengagement of an engaged employee, or you will assume something about an employee that isn't true, and that will lead to further problems down the road.
Tone matters, context matters. Like, there's so much of this that I think is important. But I think that as a leader, having the chance to go in front of the room and in front of the team and talk about these things and say, hey, I want us to move into a space where you feel empowered to make decisions that are going to be the right decisions for our company and for our team and for our customers, or whatever that is. Like, I want us to be that. And here's what that looks like. And I want to talk about what this type of thing, if you run into a situation or an issue, the first step of that is ask a peer. Right? Ask a peer, what do they think? Like, bounce it off somebody else. Two heads are better than one in a lot of these types of scenarios. And let's bounce around a couple of the different ideas, right? And then if you're getting stuck, or you're not figuring it out, or you need a timely decision, then come let me know. But tell me, say, hey, I'm coming to you and I need a timely decision because we've bounced a couple solutions and we're just not getting there. Like, preface the conversation with where you're at with it, what's going on. Like, I think if you do that as a team and you talk about the importance of it and you build a work system by definition of what you want them to go do, then it's super helpful, because you've given them the vision of, here's who I want us to be, and here's the empowerment I want you to all feel in making these decisions, and then here's how you leverage me as your leader. And I want you to know that it's okay. Like, if you ever need to play the, like, Lorenzo, hey, I'm coming to you with something, and what I really need right now is just like a decision that you can make. Like, if you just tell me that, I'm going to make a decision for you right then and there. Right? Because I also understand that, like, urgency and time can matter. I'm going to have some questions. I want to seek to understand. I want to get some more context on what's going on, but I also want to respect the fact that you may be on a time crunch or something urgent's going on. So, like, if you're not being that clear with what you provide your team, it makes it hard for them to navigate those waters of how and where and when and what do we do to make sure that we are getting a solution as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Right. And then the last thing, and equally as important to all of this, is if somebody comes to you with a question and they're looking for a solution and you don't know the answer, tell them that right up front. Say, you know what? That's an interesting situation you have there. I don't know off the top of my head, but let's ask some questions and let's figure this out together. Being able to say, I don't know, but let's find this out together. Let's solve this problem together is a very important step in a leadership role to making sure your people don't think that you're trying to, put it back on them because it's a learning moment. But in your mind, you're thinking, oh crud, I don't have an answer, but I don't want to seem like the person who doesn't have the answer. Just because you're the leader doesn't mean you have to have the answer. It just means you have to be a resource for the person to help get to the answer, even if you don't know it off the top of your head. That's okay. The moment you lead the person to believe that you're trying to turn this into a schoolable moment for them and you're withholding information, but in actuality, you don't have the information, it's like quick, let's get them to go away so I can research the answer and then get back to them later, making it look like I already knew it. You've lost them and you've lost the relationship. So be very transparent with what you do know and what you don't know about what they've come to you for, because you will get out of the situation together and you'll have a much clearer understanding as far as the motivations of the employee, and you'll develop that over time so that they'll be able to hopefully next time need less of assistance in terms of solving the problem. I want to thank you all for joining us on this discussion of employee engagement. We'll see you next Thursday for another one. Have a great day.